Listening Test 1.
Part 1.
You will hear a verbal conversation between two people talking about hotel accommodation. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5. Hello, I'd like to check in.
Hello, welcome to the Playa Hotel. What's your name?
It's David Williams.
Did you reserve a single room?
No, actually, I'm traveling with my wife and teenage son. Their names are Karen Williams and Jared Williams.
Oh, lovely. I just need identification for all the guests. It's a normal procedure with our hotel.
Of course. Here are our passports. We'll be staying for 3 nights.
Is it your first time to Los Angeles?
Yes, we're excited to be here.
We're thrilled to have you. So, I've booked you into the family suite on the first floor.
On the 4th floor?
No, the first. It has the sea view as we're near Venice Beach.
That's great. What time is breakfast?
We start serving breakfast at 6 a.m. The kitchen closes at 9 a.m., but you're welcome to the self-service buffet until 10. For breakfast, we serve a continental or American breakfast.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen carefully and answer questions 6 to 10. I normally don't eat much for breakfast, but I am on holiday now.
You can order waffles, pancakes, fried bacon, sausages.
We'll just have a simple breakfast, coffee and toast, thanks. We're actually hoping to go swimming before breakfast.
The outdoor pool opens at 7 a.m., but you need to make an appointment to use it.
In that case, I'll book it for 6:30. Actually, that's a little early. Let's make it 7.
No problem. I'm just booking it.
Is the pool open all day?
Well, yes, but due to recent restrictions, you will need to make another appointment if you want to use the pool again.
Oh, all right. In that case, we'll probably just use it in the morning and go to the beach later on.
Can I help you arrange any activities in Los Angeles?
Is there anything special you could recommend?
Absolutely. Well, firstly, you could visit Universal Studios, an attraction park where you can see how movies are made. Disney World is very near too. Tomorrow morning we have a bus tour of Beverly Hills.
We'd like the family ticket to Universal Studios, but we'll pass on the bus tour. We're planning to rent our own car.
The family ticket is $100 to Universal Studios. I can take payment here.
Can you help me hire a car?
No problem. Do you want a compact, medium, or large vehicle?
We'd prefer a large vehicle because my son has a lot of heavy equipment, like his surfboard.
Today we have a BMW X5 or a Jeep Cherokee.
What's the rate on the BMW?
It's $75 per day. It's a little high, but it's a reliable car, automatic and easy to drive.
I have a loyalty card with your hotel chain. Could you give me a discount?
Yes, you get 20% off. Here's the key. You're all set.
Thank you for your help.
You're welcome. Goodbye. That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Part 2. You will hear a research-based lecture on robotics and AI. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15. There has been fast growth in the development of smart tools, artificial intelligence, and robotics in the past 15 years. They offer many important and often essential services. Let's examine them today in more detail. An important advantage of using AI in robotics is that they are simply more cost-effective than human workers. It is less expensive for a company to invest in a set of robots for a manual job than to employ a group of people to do the same activity. Moreover, businesses must pay much higher taxes to the government for their employees than the tax paid on robotic products. Robots work consistently without fatigue, are easily controlled and maintained. As artificial intelligence improves daily, robots can be used for numerous industries, including car production, construction, legal work, data input, and much more. Another benefit to robots is that they can be constructed and modified according to the consumer's need, even with moving parts and arms that operate more flexibly and with much greater strength and speed than human limbs. Additionally, they can replace human workers in dangerous environments such as mines, underwater, and in the battlefield. It's no secret that AI operates at a much faster speed than human intelligence. For instance, a 4-week research project that involves 6 lawyers can be done by advanced, highly configured AI in a matter of hours. Thanks to deep text and other intelligent systems, robotic tools can even be used to understand the inference or hidden meaning in text or other communication. These types of tools could work effectively for military intelligence. Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen carefully and answer questions 16 to 20. While it's true that robots offer a path to a more convenient lifestyle, we must consider the impact that artificial intelligence and robots will have on society and the world at large and in the long term. Several types of jobs now done by human beings would disappear within the next 2 decades. Therefore, employees must retrain and develop new skills for new positions. The priority skills most obviously should involve a very strong understanding of artificial intelligence and how to keep it within safe limits, while also maintaining the privacy of users. Furthermore, humans must be ready for more creative roles that involve spontaneity and emotion rather than the smart skills offered by AI. Creating projects that may envision ways of making the world a more positive and safer place to live using robotics will be the human's role. For example, the development of the metaverse and augmented reality universe using AI and internet requires human design and vision. However, there remains a concern about the power of AI as its algorithms accelerate in their intuition and understanding of human response. The question remains whether humans can retain the mastery of this advancing intelligence. That is the end of part 2. Now you have half a minute to check your answers. Part 3.
You will hear 3 people discussing the topic of feminism. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26. Hello, Anna and Lucy. In this radio report, we'll be discussing the growth and trends in feminist theory in the 20th century. You're a historian, Anna, so tell us about the roots of feminism.
The word feminism was coined by a French philosopher in 1837, so by that date the stirrings of feminist thought had already begun. However, political movements for women's rights did not emerge until later that century.
Are you referring to the suffragette movement?
I'm referring to a political movement for suffrage, that is, the right to vote, in Great Britain in the late 19th century. However, the suffragettes did not actively fight for the vote until the 20th century.
Lucy, you've written several books on second-wave feminism. Can you define this for our listeners?
Second-wave feminism was born in the 1950s and continued until the 1970s. It coincided with other political movements, such as the demand for African American rights in the United States and the anti-war movement. This climate of social transformation in the West allowed second-wave feminism to thrive. Women fought for equal jobs, reproductive rights, and they pushed against gender discrimination. Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 27 to 30.
For people who haven't studied feminism in depth, I think there is some confusion over the term radical feminism, because it seems that radical feminists criticize second-wave feminists.
I don't agree with you. It's true, however, that there has been a lot of dispute among feminists. However, radical feminists don't criticize regular feminists who fight for day-to-day rights and powers. Radical feminists simply believe that the problems for women in society stem from historic and deep-rooted patriarchy that dates back centuries. They believe that the system of patriarchy itself must be upturned and dissolved in order for true equality between the sexes to occur. You could say that their stance is more intellectual because they focus more on the roots and history of the problem rather than just the effects of it.
So, at this point in the 21st century, has the system really changed, Lucy?
Some third and fourth wave feminists claim that the old system has changed. Personally, I believe it depends on where you are located in the world. The reality for a woman in Iceland, for example, is very different to that of a woman based in Chad or Mali in Africa. What we do know is that it's vital to keep fighting for gender, sexual equality, and to never take for granted the efforts made by our ancestors in the past. That is the end of part 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to part 4. Part 4. You will hear a presentation about cobalt mining in the Democratic Republic of Congo. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40. In this lecture, we're looking at the mining of cobalt in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Cobalt is a metal sourced in the Earth's crust. This region of the world has the richest source of cobalt in all of Africa. In fact, I believe it supplies half of the world's cobalt, which is breathtaking. There's a company called Zhejiang Huayu Cobalt, a Chinese group, which owns the mining organizations in this country. They control the activity of the mines and then sell the cobalt directly to the manufacturers of batteries. Those batteries are then used to produce smartphones and electric cars. Famous companies such as Apple, Samsung, Telsa, and Volkswagen use these cobalt batteries. Scientific research shows that asthma, heart problems, and even cancer may be caused from exposure to cobalt, and just touching it can cause an instant rash. So, it makes sense that regulations around the mining of and exposure to cobalt should be strictly regulated and controlled. However, based on information from the human rights organization Amnesty International, child workers are being used in the mines in Katanga, Democratic Republic of Congo, to dig for cobalt. There are hundreds of reports, including video footage showing children as young as 7 years old being sent deep into the mines to excavate in hazardous conditions. Activists are now urging customers to stop buying smartphones which use this cobalt, with the aim to stop the exploitation of these children. Nowadays, you can buy smartphones that do not depend on cobalt from the Katanga mines. Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to read questions 35 to 40. Now, answer questions 35 to 40. A lengthy article from African Resources Watch, an NGO founded in the Democratic Republic of Congo, says that 40,000 children are currently hired to work inside the cobalt mines of Katanga in southern Congo. The article is based on interviews with children and teenage miners who claim that they work 12-hour shifts or longer in extreme heat or pouring rain. The children receive a payment of $1 to $2 per day for this work, and they receive no holiday or time off at the weekends. The young people are exposed to toxic cobalt dust, dangerous tunnels, and a heavy physical workload. Accidents are common. In 2012, 60 miners were killed in a mine collapse in Katanga. The current market price of cobalt is $80,000 per ton, but the Congolese mining companies sell the products at $7 a ton to Chinese companies. The profits of the great group Congo Dongfang Mining International are held only by the shareholders of the group. In this way, neither the Congolese economy nor the mine workers benefit from the sourcing and sale of cobalt. Due to media attention on the issue of illegal child labour, authorities in Congo have promised to take action against the work practices of mining companies. Certain fair trade manufacturers now sell smartphones that guarantee their components have not involved child labour. This is the end of the listening test. You now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the listening answer sheet.